NAPLAN. You've probably heard the name, and maybe it brings up a whole lot of questions. Is it some kind of pass or fail exam? What's it actually measuring? And what in the world do the results mean for my kid? Well, in the next few minutes, we're going to cut right through all that confusion. We'll give you the clear, simple answers you're looking for. So, let's dive in.
Here's our game plan. First up, we'll tackle the big one. What even is NAPLAN? Then we're going to take you inside the test window to see exactly how it all works. After that, we'll look at what the journey looks like for every student, including those who might need a bit of extra support. And finally, the part you're probably waiting for, we are going to decode those results together.
Okay, so first things first, what exactly is NAPLAN? The best way to think about it isn't as some scary high-stakes final exam. Honestly, it's much more like a national checkup on learning. It gives us one big snapshot of how students are doing with the basics, right across the entire country.
At its heart, NAPLAN stands for the National Assessment Program for, you guessed it, literacy and numeracy. It's really the only time we get a totally consistent, nationwide look at those fundamental skills. You know, the ones that are the building blocks for everything else. And this is so important. It's not a test on specific school subjects, but on those core, foundational skills.
So let's break it down real quick. Who takes it? Students in years 3, 5, 7, and 9. When does it happen? There's a 9-day window every March. And the big why? Well, it's all about checking in on those core skills in a way that's fair and consistent, so you can compare results from a school in Perth to one in Sydney.
Right, so to get those consistent, comparable results, the whole testing process has to be incredibly standardized. So let's peek behind the curtain and look inside that test window to see the rules that make sure it's a fair process for every single student.
You'll probably notice there's a really strict order here. The writing test always happens on day 1. And there's a really good reason for that. The writing prompt is the same for every student in that year level, so doing it first is a huge security measure. It just makes sure nobody gets a sneak peek, which guarantees a level playing field for everyone.
And how much time are we talking about here? This table for year 5 gives you a pretty good idea. Each test is its own separate session, and they usually run somewhere between 40 and 65 minutes. It's really not an all-day thing. It's just a series of focused sessions spread out across that 9-day window.
Now, a really key principle of NAPLAN is that it has to be accessible to every student. The whole system is actually designed with a lot of built-in flexibility to make sure everyone can participate in a way that's fair and works for their individual needs. This is one of the questions that comes up all the time. It's so important to know the difference between being withdrawn and being exempt. Withdrawing a child, that's a parent's choice, maybe for personal or philosophical reasons. An exemption is completely different. That's a formal decision made with the school, and it's usually for students with significant disabilities or those who are brand new to Australia. For students with disabilities who do participate, this idea is the guiding light. The goal of any adjustment isn't to give an advantage, but simply to mirror the kind of support that student already gets in the classroom every day. It's all about making sure they can access the test on the same basis as everyone else. And this gives you a bit of a feel for what that support can look like. It could be things like having extra time, taking rest breaks, or using assistive technology. The goal is always the same: remove any barriers so that every student gets a fair shot to show what they know and can do.
Okay, let's get to the part I know you're really curious about: the results. After all the tests are done, what do those reports that come home actually tell you about your child's learning? Let's decode them.
Student achievement is reported using 4 main levels. At the top, you have exceeding, then strong, developing, and finally, needs additional support. You can almost think of it like a ladder, showing where a student's skills were sitting at that particular moment in time.
Now, to really understand this whole scale, we're going to zoom in on the strong level. Why this one? Because this is basically the national benchmark. It represents what's considered a challenging but totally reasonable expectation for a student at the year level.
So, when you see strong on a report, this is what it's telling you. It means your child is meeting a solid, national standard for their age. They are right on track with the skills they need to keep progressing in their learning. It's a good place to be. But what does strong actually look like? Let's make it real. Take numeracy for a year 5 student. At this level, they can typically do things like solve simple multi-step problems, figure out time calculations, and read data from a graph. So it's not just some abstract label. It's tied to these real, concrete skills.
And just to complete the picture, here's a quick rundown of the other levels. Exceeding is, of course, performing above that expected standard. Developing means a student is on their way, they're working towards that standard, and needs additional support is a flag that they'll likely benefit from some extra help to catch up.
At the end of the day, a NAPLAN report is not a final grade. It's not the last word. It's just a single snapshot in time. The most powerful thing you can do with these results is use them as a tool, a starting point for a really great conversation with your child's teacher about their unique learning journey and how all of you can best support them moving forward.